In October of 2024, 26-year-old Ethan Mercer found an old copy of the 1997 horror game Nightmare Creatures at a flea market. The jewel case looked brand new. The cover showed grotesque monsters stalking through the foggy streets of Victorian London. Ethan had never played it before, but he loved retro horror games. The old vendor who sold it to him hesitated before taking his money. "You sure you want that one?" the man asked. Ethan laughed. "It's just a game." The vendor's smile vanished. "That's what everyone says." The night Ethan hooked up his old PlayStation console to his computer monitor, the opening cinematic immediately fascinated him. Dark alleys, twisted monsters, blood-soaked streets. He played for 6 straight hours. When he finally stumbled into bed at 3 in the morning, his eyes burned from staring at the screen. Sleep came quickly. Then the nightmare began. He found himself wandering through a fog-covered London street identical to the game. Something moved behind him. A creature. Its limbs bent the wrong way. Its skin looked stitched together from human flesh. It chased him through the darkness. He ran until he tripped. The monster landed on top of him. His claws dug into his chest. Ethan woke screaming. Sweat soaked his sheets. His heart hammered wildly. Then he noticed the scratches. 3 long red marks stretched across his chest. He stared at them in confusion. Maybe he'd scratched himself while sleeping. That had to be it. Had to be. The next evening he played again. And again the nightmares came. This time he dreamed he was fighting the monsters himself. They attacked from every direction. One slammed him against a brick wall. Another tore into his shoulder. When he awoke, a massive purple bruise covered the exact spot where he had been struck. Ethan sat frozen on the edge of his bed. The bruise hurt. It felt real. Over the following weeks, he became obsessed. The game consumed him. He stopped answering calls, ignored friends, skipped work whenever possible. Every waking moment revolved around reaching the next level. And every night the nightmares worsened. The monsters grew smarter, closer, more detailed. Sometimes you could smell the rotting flesh. Sometimes he felt their hot breath on his neck. The scratches multiplied. Bruises appeared across his arms and legs. Deep cuts occasionally surfaced on his skin. Doctors found no explanation. One physician suggested sleepwalking. Another recommended therapy. Neither explanation satisfied Ethan. Because the injuries matched the nightmares perfectly. When he reached the halfway point of the game, something changed. The dreams stopped feeling like dreams. They felt real. One night he found himself standing inside a cathedral from the game. Moonlight filtered through shattered stained glass windows. Bodies hung from chains overhead. Blood dripped from the ceiling. A woman's voice echoed through the darkness.
"Ethan."
He turned. A pale woman stood before him. Her eyes were black pits. Her smile stretched impossibly wide.
"You shouldn't have come this far."
"Who are you?" he asked.
"The one waiting at the end."
The cathedral shook violently. Then a massive creature emerged behind her. It had 6 arms and a face made entirely of screaming mouths. The thing lunged. Its claws sank into Ethan's stomach. He woke instantly. Blood stained his shirt. A fresh wound stretched across his abdomen. Not deep enough to kill, but deep enough to terrify him. Anyone else would have destroyed the game. Ethan wouldn't. He needed answers. Needed to know what happened at the end. What was waiting for him. So he kept playing. As he progressed toward the final levels, strange things began happening while he was awake. He caught glimpses of movements in mirrors. Shadowy figures stood at the end of hallways. Monstrous faces appeared briefly in dark windows. Whenever he looked directly at them, they vanished. His apartment grew colder. Sleep became impossible. Yet somehow the game kept pulling him back. Every night, every level, every nightmare. The pale woman always appeared, and every time she repeated the same warning. You shouldn't have come this far. Finally, one rainy Friday night, Ethan reached the final level. Outside, thunder rattled the windows. The clock read 2:13 a.m. The game's final boss waited within a ruined laboratory. His hands trembled as he played. Hours passed. Monsters attacked relentlessly. His health bar nearly emptied countless times. Then, at last, he reached the final confrontation. The screen faded to black. A cutscene began. The pale woman emerged from the darkness. This time she looked directly into the camera, into Ethan's eyes. And she smiled.
You made it.
The screen suddenly shut off. The room went silent. A horrible silence. Ethan stared at the blank screen. Then he heard breathing behind him. Slow, wet, heavy. He turned. Nothing. The apartment was empty. Then his computer monitor flickered on by itself. Words appeared across the screen. Game complete. Beneath it appeared another message. Player released. Ethan frowned. What does that mean? The screen changed again. New player connected. A name appeared. Ethan Mercer. His blood turned to ice. Suddenly memories flooded into his mind. Memories that weren't his. Thousands of them. People sitting in dark rooms, playing the game, having nightmares, reaching the end, the disappearing. All of them. Every single one. The truth crashed into him like a train. The game wasn't haunted. The players were. Each person who completed it became a part of it. A soul trapped inside. A monster added to the nightmare. And someone else is always chosen to replace them. Ethan staggered backward. The room began dissolving around him. His apartment walls melted into fog. Victorian buildings emerged from the darkness. Cobblestone streets formed beneath his feet. The world of nightmare creatures surrounded him. He wasn't dreaming. He wasn't dead. He was inside, trapped forever. The pale woman stepped from the mist.
Now, you understand?
Terror consumed him. Please let me go, Ethan screamed. She smiled sadly.
I tried to warn you.
Behind her, dozens of figures emerged from the shadows. Men, women, children, all staring blankly, all former players. Their faces twisted by years of horror. Then Ethan noticed something even worse. One of the monsters shambling toward him looked familiar. It wore the same clothes as the flea market vendor. The old man stopped in front of him. Its ruined face split into a grin.
You sure it's just a game?
The creature laughed. The others joined in. The sound echoed endlessly through the fog. And somewhere far away, in the real world, another collector discovered an old copy of Nightmare Creatures sitting mysteriously on a shelf. The case looked brand new. Inside, the reflection of the plastic cover, if someone looked very closely, they might notice a terrified young man pounding against the other side of the glass, scratching, begging, trying desperately to get out.